Hey everybody, here I am live on Facebook, and today I wanted to talk about making carrot dogs, which have recently become a thing. I think it was Tabitha Brown did a TikTok on carrot dogs and made them really, really popular at that point. They're kind of a fun thing for us plant-based people to make. So carrot dogs are sort of a substitute for hot dogs, and hot dogs are probably the least healthy food item a person can eat. So carrot dogs are obviously the opposite of that. We're made from a carrot. So they're really simple, and there's a long break between you boil them and marinate them like overnight, and then you grill them. So I'm going to show you the first part, and then I have some that I marinated yesterday, and so we'll get those out and show you the cooking part. I also wanted to make a quick chili sauce to put on my hot dog, and I'm going to start that first because that takes a little bit of sauteing some onions and garlic and things. This recipe for the chili sauce is not yet on my website, so I'll put it on later today. The carrot dog recipe is on the website. So for the chili sauce, I'm going to just use an onion I've chopped up, and basically just onion, garlic, tomato sauce. And I'm going to use lentils today. And then a little of this and a little of that with various spices. Okay, so I'm going to start sauteing the onions and garlic. And we're going to do two things at once here today. We're going to multitask and also make the, I'm also going to start working on the carrot dogs. So I see somebody's joined me, and welcome. And I should explain, I'm making a quick chili sauce for the hot dogs. So that's what's going on right now in the saute pan. Okay, so let's switch over to carrot dogs. So for carrot dogs, you want to, I'm just going to make two today to start. Take a couple carrots. I've peeled these, and what I'm going to do is trim the stem end, and then I'm going to cut the other end so it's the same length as my hot dog bun. We want something that fits in the bun. We'll get one of these buns out. So this one is almost the right length, so I'm just going to take a little bit off that one, the end. The other one, take a little bit off that end. And then the ends of these, I could use this as is, but it's kind of fun to round the ends a little bit, and so it's more like a hot dog in the end. So I just go around the end with my knife like that, kind of round off the end a little bit. I do that. I'm just making two of these right now, so do that on both of them. I've got some onions and garlic cooking here because I wanted to make a quick chili dog. Okay. Hey, Belize, nice to see you here. So now I've got my two. This is the raw material. I am going to boil these. So the carrot dogs need to be cooked. So I'm just going to boil these. I've got a pan of water back here. I'm going to throw them in here for about 10 minutes. Just set my timer so I don't forget. So when those are done, and I will test them to see if they're done, I will stick a fork. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Adrian. Nice to see you all here. And yeah, carrot dogs are fun. They're really fun. And some people laugh, oh, carrot dogs, but you know, they taste a whole lot like hot dogs by the time we're through with them. So I better stir my onions. The secret to the carrot dog is the marinade. Since I made a batch yesterday, I made the marinade yesterday, and I'm just going to reuse it because there's no reason not to reuse it. So I'll just tell you what goes in the marinade. It's basically soy sauce, water, apple cider vinegar. So it's got a umami acidic base. And then we add things to flavor it. So we add garlic powder and pepper and onion powder. And then you need to add something to give it a smoky taste. So I use liquid smoke. And you can, and I also use a little smoked paprika. The smoking part is important. Hi, Barbara. I don't. Smoking is important because that's kind of the basic taste of a you know, a meat-based hot dog. So those are the ingredients, and that's all on my website, the marinade. Okay, these are cooking up. Cooking some onions and garlic to make a quick chili while the carrot dogs are boiling. Okay, so the things that are going to go in this chili, you know, you can use any kind of chili recipe. What I'm going to use right now, I'm going to use some tomato sauce. Ooh, boiling right away. Water in there. And I'm going to use lentils. So you could use canned lentils, or you can use like a crumble product, like a Beyond Meat crumble or a Gardein crumble. We want to, I think for chili sauce for a hot dog, you want kind of a meat type chili rather than a bean type chili. So we're using lentils because they would substitute for the meat. I suppose you could use mushrooms. All right, so this is going to simmer, and we're going to add a few things to flavor it. I'm going to add some yellow mustard. I'm just going to eyeball this, a couple tablespoons. Trying to get it all out of there. That's about empty. I'm going to add some chili powder, of course. Find it. There it is. I'll add a couple tablespoons of that. Then I'm going to add cumin, which is kind of like my universal spice. Goes in practically everything. I'm going to add a teaspoon. This is a half teaspoon measure. So 2 of those, and I'm going to add half a teaspoon of cayenne to give it some heat. Ooh. And for me, a little goes a long way. I'm going to add some garlic powder and onion powder, of course. I guess a teaspoon. And then onion powder. Okay, so that's flavoring up our chili sauce. I have some crushed red pepper flakes here too. I'm going to add a little bit of those. They create a lot of heat. I got a couple other things out to put in this as well. I've got some Worcestershire sauce. So Worcestershire sauce is sometimes not vegan. Often it has anchovies in it. So I always just read the label. This particular one, which is just a Harris Teeter store brand. That's my grocery store. Doesn't have anchovies. I've got a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, teaspoon. I'm going to use my tablespoon, so just a little bit of that. Then I'm going to add a little apple cider vinegar, because I put that in everything. Tablespoon of that. Okay. Well, the reason I added the chili, because I realized to do a Facebook Live demonstration of the carrot dogs, there's very little to show. You're boiling the carrots. You're submerging them in marinade overnight, and then you just put them on a grill or you put them in a saute pan. So there wasn't a lot really to show. So I thought I'll just add a little extra something here. We'll just make some chili sauce. Okay, that's going. I'm going to stick a fork in the carrots and see what I think. So they are, so what you want with your carrots is you want the fork to go in, but you don't want a soft carrot. So you want, it's kind of a fine line between a cooked carrot and a raw carrot, kind of in the middle, so that it can hold up to grilling. But it needs to be cooked so that it will absorb marinade. And yeah. So I think what I'll do now, I'm going to take this chili and put it on my stove. And let it simmer a while. And maybe I'll go ahead and grill the carrots. So these are the carrots I cooked and put in marinade yesterday. So we'll get these out, and we'll, so this marinade is a fairly heavy soy sauce marinade. Actually, I changed the recipe since I made these to make it a little less soy-based. But you can see it's a pretty dark marinade because it has a good bit of soy sauce. Okay. Okay, so all I'm going to do is put these on a saute pan. At this point, of course, you might want to put them on a grill. So regular hot dogs, let's say pork-based hot dogs, are very, very unhealthy for a few reasons. One is they have a lot of fat, and they have a lot of sodium. Okay, so I see one of these broke, but I'm going to go ahead and put it anyway. They have a lot of fat and they have a lot of sodium, and those are not good for your cholesterol, your blood pressure, and all of that. The other reason is, well, actually, there's two other reasons. If you go to the World Health Organization website and search for carcinogens, they're considered a group 1 carcinogen. That is, they have been shown to cause cancer. along with other processed meats. So, that's obviously a bad thing. And timer. And then also when you grill meat, compounds are formed. I think they're heterocyclic amines or something like that. Compounds are formed which are also cancer causing. So, I'm not going to say if you eat a hot dog you're going to get cancer, but if people continue, frequently eat processed meats, especially grilled meats, they have a much higher risk of, um, of getting colorectal cancer. Billy asked, medium rare. So what, medium? Yeah, medium rare on my carrot dogs. I think that's right. I'm going to stick a fork in them now. They're almost there. I'm going to set the timer for 2 more minutes. And Belize, I'm sorry, Belize, got your name wrong. Belize also asked, do I ever use TVP in chili? Yes. So I have TVP once in a while. TVP is texturized vegetable protein. Got to pay attention here to what I'm doing, which is a soy product. And it's a dried product, a dehydrated product. So when you add moisture to it, like if you added tomato sauce to it, it has a consistency a lot like ground beef. In fact, years ago, they used to sell ground beef that was augmented with TVP. It's sort of a cheap meat. So I don't know if you all can see this. And as I turn these over, they're getting some little dark hook marks on them, which is what we want. And if you had them on a grill, of course, you could get grill marks, which would be perfect. Okay, so I think I'm going to take these carrots out. So I made the 2 carrots, made them. I trimmed them. Now when I stick a fork in them, it goes in, but there's some resistance. Woo, just dropped it. So there's some resistance, but the fork goes in fairly easily. So those are just going in the marinade. And then ideally, they would sit there for the rest of the day, even until tomorrow in the refrigerator. This starting my toaster oven because I had a couple hot dog buns in there. So I'm going to put these carrot dogs on some buns. And then we'll throw some chili on it. So I'm sorry, one of these did break. Hazard when you boil carrots, that sometimes I maybe got that one a little too soft. Another thing I might possibly have done is I stuck my fork in it, which created sort of a weakness, just where. So we're almost finished. I just have to get the buns out. Let me get a little plate here. Any questions anybody has, just type them in the comments. I will tell you what I'm making next time. I'm just waiting for the buns to toast, which is on Thursday. I'm going to make a red pepper Alfredo sauce. It's a creamy kind of red from the red pepper sauce that you can put on anything. I'm going to make some cook some fettuccine, so it'll be like a fettuccine Alfredo. But you can put it on. You can put it on vegetables. It's just a nice sauce to have around. I think you could even add some broth to it and eat it like a soup. It's very flavorful. So that's what I'm going to do Thursday. And then I won't be here Saturday, so I'm going away for the weekend. Okay, let me see if these buns are ready. Not quite. Not quite toasted yet. Okay, so what else can I talk about? Let me just go over what was in the marinade because I didn't mention all of that. I actually just showed it to you. So the recipe that I'm recommending you use is about a quarter cup soy sauce and a half a cup of water and 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, which seems to be what I use in every recipe I make. And then the other things that I use, of course, are garlic powder, 2 teaspoons, liquid smoke, which is a real interesting product. I keep it in the fridge. It comes in a little bottle, and because you only use a little bit at a time, and also it keeps forever, so you don't have to worry about not being able to use it up. But it imparts a very smoky flavor to whatever you put it in. And then I used a teaspoon of black pepper, half a teaspoon of onion powder, and half a teaspoon of smoked paprika, which is another one of my favorite spices. So that was the marinade. But these 2 carrots that we just cooked are sitting in right now. Let's see if those buns are ready. Perfect. Okay. So for buns, I looked high and low. Hard to find, a healthy hot dog bun. I did find some whole wheat buns. Whole wheat hot dog buns. They have other ingredients. Unfortunately, they do have a little bit of sugar and a little bit of oil. But the total sugars are 2 grams and the total fat is 2 grams. So these are fine. All right, so I've got my buns. I'm going to put a hot dog, put a carrot dog in each one. Actually, I'll go ahead and take the broken one. So if someone comes to join me for lunch, we will give him a whole one. Okay, so at this point you could put on your mustard, ketchup, pickles, onions, but I'm going to go ahead and put on some of this. This will be awesome. The nice thing about using the lentils is it adds more protein to your meal. People are always talking about plant-based people. Oh, you don't get any protein. You get plenty of protein. We don't need as much protein as most people think they need. I probably need about 40 grams a day. And I get that, I'm sure. Vegetables all have some protein. Plus, I eat beans every day, almost every day, in the form of maybe soybeans, and then like black beans, lentils, other kinds of beans. And then nuts. I'm very fond of nuts. A lot of my recipes have nuts. Okay, I'm going to take a bite of this. Not sure if it's too hot. I'll let you know what I think. Wow. That has so much flavor. I'm not sure what has more flavor, the carrot dog or the chili. They are both loaded with flavor. I think the carrot dog, because the marinade I used before had more soy sauce. I can really taste the soy sauce, but anyway, this is awesome. I'm gonna take another bite. Mm. Very good. Sorry, Kathy. You're right. There is a tablespoon of maple syrup in the marinade. It's not necessary, but it never hurts to add just a touch of sweetness to things. So I did go ahead and put a little maple syrup in there. Thank you for noticing that. Okay. Well, I have finished my demonstration for carrot dogs and a quick chili. And I'm going to call my spouse to see if he wants one because it's lunchtime. And I hope to see you back on Thursday. I do thank the folks who are here when I'm doing a live. That's really nice. I appreciate that. But I also thank people who watch the replay. Not everybody, can be here right on time at 12 o'clock. So the replays for all of my lives are on the same page, this Everyday Plant-Based Facebook page. They're up under videos, under the video tabs. And some of them are good, some of them are indifferent, and a few of them I kind of mess up. So I'm not going to tell you which ones. But anyway, I'll see you back here another time. Thanks for watching. Bye.